Now.
Not before, but now.
But now.
No, it says you're live.
Okay, yeah.
So we're trying some new stream settings.
Yes.
A special code that is now set, and it's actually got some peculiar settings. Ooh. And we've got a 4K cam link, but we're not doing 4K, we're still 1080p. But maybe one day we're gonna do 4K, Casper. Welcome.
One day.
To the state of the beans.
Dog.
We've got a huge show for you guys today. So much stuff happened last week.
So much stuff.
Crazy stuff.
I know, I feel like it's been a month or like weeks of crazy big reveals.
Yeah.
It's leading up to that Christmas period. Everything's coming out.
It's Techtober, baby.
Techtober, baby.
Oh, so much good stuff happening. So, we're going to talk Zen 3, because that's the big topic of the week. Further that, we might talk NVIDIA, delaying the 3070.
Oh, yes. Ooh.
We're going to talk PlayStation 5.
Yep.
And we're going to talk a little bit about Xbox.
Yeah, maybe
a little bit. And then if you have watched the PlayStation 5 ASMR Teardown, it was fantastic.
Is it ASMR?
I think it's ASMR.
Kind of, right? It's really quiet, and the guy's like Japanese soothing tones as he's doing it.
It's pretty much ASMR.
Yeah.
Yeah. G'day, Nathaniel.
Hey, Nathaniel.
Now, we were just talking about NVIDIA. So, both of us have made orders for a 3080 and 3090.
Yes.
And we were talking to a certain shop, I'm not going to say who, and that certain shop told us about the numbers.
Yes. The numbers of orders are big. Basically, the guy behind the counter was like, oh yeah, there's thousands of orders. Which model were you after? I'm like, oh, this one in particular. He's like, oh yeah, there's 140 orders in that one to be specific. So you're somewhere in the queue.
So overall, we've got multiple thousands across the range of 3080s.
Yeah.
Less so on the 3090s, is that right?
Yeah, there's less so, yeah, obviously. Yeah.
At one point, I saw a 3090 receive a date when it's going to be in stock, and I was like, click! Literally an hour later, it was back to no stock availability and like no ETA.
Oh god.
So they must have come in and they must have been like, okay, there's 50 coming. They all haven't been allocated to a customer, and then so they probably allocated it quickly and then it disappeared. So
yeah. Oh man. It's gonna be. Well, the guy did say, he was like, oh, if you order one now, you have a good chance of getting it before Christmas. I think. That's
Holy
what he
crap.
said.
Can you... Christmas, that's still months away.
So, yeah, basically, if you
days.
order one now, you might get it in 8 weeks' time.
Now, one thing I'd like to say is that the reason I'm really annoyed about the delay with the graphics cards is I can't review the G9 monitor.
Yeah, you can't take it to its first, full potential.
No, I can't.
It's just, what are you? You've got like 60 to 80 frames for most of your games?
Yeah. I can't even, I don't even get to see all the frames. G'day, Control, hello. Before we roll the intro, I just had an idea.
Alright.
I'm going to put it to chat, I'm going to put it to you.
Okay.
You bought a new monitor too.
I did. I have a new monitor.
And I think it's really exciting.
It's very exciting.
New toys are exciting.
Yeah.
Do you want to try a live stream of you unboxing it?
Hey, why not? Yeah, I'm keen. I'm keen if you guys are keen. I've never ever in my life done an unboxing of anything, like in front of a camera, that is.
Well, it's going to be exciting. You're going to have to talk all about the product.
Yeah.
You're going to have to make a box exciting. Do you know how hard that is?
Is it? To make a box exciting?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god.
Whoa! Instructions!
It's a box! Yeah, I've never done an unboxing.
So maybe we'll do that on your channel later tonight.
Okay,
cool.
Yeah, keen.
All right, gentlemen, welcome everybody, and let's roll the intro. Where's the button for the intro? There it is. There we go. We're back. All right.
Hello.
Let's talk Zen 3. Casper.
Okay. Yes, Patrick.
Are you excited?
Am I excited? I am for people that are getting it. Like, I myself am not, so this doesn't really mean anything to me. Yeah, big tears. I get the feeling that there's gonna be a good supply of these CPUs.
We're hoping.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be it's not gonna be a paper launch. I think they're gonna get ready, they're gonna have lots more on stock. They're still gonna sell out, but maybe just not as drastically as everything else that's been getting sold out.
Yeah. Well, Lisa Su, the heartthrob that she is.
Absolutely.
She has certainly done a fantastic job with AMD and their CPUs and their, I guess the way she's led the company. Because remember, everyone, there are a lot of engineers and a lot of people that make it all happen. So we shouldn't discount that, but her leadership has certainly led the talent that was there in the right direction to this point. She did sort of mention that, it's going to be a proper launch, 5th of November, for those who still don't know. And that should hopefully mean that stock is going out before then, like landing in shops, but we still have no word on pre-orders. So it might literally be 5th of November and you just click try and smash buy again.
Yes.
And if that happens, that seems to be the theme lately for big tech launches. Nobody's been... Oh, did PlayStation do pre-orders?
They did on the day when they gave us the prices and the date of the release.
Yeah.
That was like basically the date we could pre-order here in Australia.
Right. But this... okay, and obviously they allocated stock to each country, but they hadn't actually sent the product out.
Yeah, they allocated stock. And I think there's talking about different regions as well where they haven't even given like dates and stock allocations and stuff, so it's very interesting.
I think Nvidia made a really big mistake not doing pre-orders.
There are pre-orders.
No, for Nvidia.
Oh, you mean like initially?
Yeah, for the 3080. I think they should have done pre-orders to gauge how much...
Yeah, okay, do pre-orders
before the release.
Right, yeah.
Like a month in advance. Everybody pre-orders and you go, whoa, crap, we're going to send like 10,000 here, we're going to send 30,000 there. Like,
absolutely.
It's not about getting the money, it's actually allocating stock. So you don't end up sending like 10,000 of your stock into one country when another country actually has more orders.
Yeah.
That's... But so I'm pretty annoyed that they did that.
But what's interesting though is like even if you had pre-orders, it would have sold out in like 24 hours. Just as both consoles have. Like there's Xbox is not taking any more pre-orders. PlayStation is not taking any more pre-orders for months to come.
But see, that to me means that manufacturing is not keeping up. They weren't expecting that many people to buy it.
Yeah.
And they pre-orders are a little bit easier because you just get in a queue from the day one, right? And you don't have to sit there on a website and just be like trying to buy it. It's a bigger disappointment. And I think if the companies know how much they need to send to each country, I think it would have been much better, to be honest. It would have been much quicker to send. Like you would have got it quicker than now. Because it would have allocated more to certain areas and, moved it around.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
but,
absolutely.
We'll see what happens. Anyway, back to Zen 3.
Yeah.
So, Zen 3 is built on the 7nm plus architecture, which is interesting because they were on the 7nm before.
Yeah,
and obviously,
Zen 2.
And I'll just bring up this PC Mag website here. And obviously because Intel is still on 14nm, and 7 and 14, you could say, well, it's,
That's twice the difference.
Twice the difference, but it's not. And TSMC
that's right.
is what AMD used to build their CPU, so their FinFET process. And TSMC is literally like a monopoly on building chips. So not necessarily just CPUs, because they also did, GPUs and all sorts of stuff. So it's the chiplet, right? The silicon wafer. And so their process, all they do is manufacture that wafer. And that's what they specialize in, and then AMD takes it and builds whatever else they need to build with it.
Yeah.
And so... never mind. I just got a message about daylight savings. So it's daylight savings in eastern states. So it's like 8 o'clock at night.
Congratulations, guys. It's late where you are.
Yeah, because the cows need to sleep, is that right? Or the cows need to wake up? Anyway.
Yeah.
So it's really bad way to compare CPUs by their nanometer. Because you
Yes.
could have a 10 nanometer CPU and a 14 nanometer CPU, but the 14 one is more efficient because it's been built better, it's got better everything, right?
Yeah.
It's certainly possible, and just because it's a lower nanometer doesn't mean it's better. In saying that, that's just prefacing and giving context. Zen 5 is going to be 5 nanometers.
Zen 4.
5.
4.
5.
4.
3.
Zen
4.
4.
Yeah. So Zen 4 is going to be 5
Yeah.
nanometers, as I
Yeah,
said
yeah.
in the presentation.
Yeah.
And Zen 3 is still 7, but it's 7 plus. So it's like the more efficient 7, and
Yeah.
that's why they've been able to increase the performance of these, was it actions per clock? What's it called? IOPS?
All right. Yeah.
Instructions per clock, right?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a moment.
IPS. Is it IPS?
IOPS? Instructions per clock. IPC.
Right. Instructions per clock.
Per clock,
yes,
right.
yes, IPC.
So the clock, so basically it's more
Yeah.
efficient. It can run more in the same time. And 19%, that percentage or that increase hasn't been seen on the Intel side for 4 generations. So that 19% accounts for 4 generations of upgrades for Intel. That's how big of a jump Zen 2 to 3 is.
Yes.
And that's only 1 generation. What, 2 years?
Yes,
3
2
years?
years. 2 years.
In
yeah.
2
Oh,
years.
Was it 3 years? Or maybe, maybe 3 years because of they had like a
yeah,
refresh.
they had a refresh.
The 2017 drop. You know, I've been thinking about a lot about that, about the 7 nanometer and the 14 nanometer.
Yeah.
So they're rushing to 5 nanometer now, but the reality is that 7 nanometer has so much more potential that hasn't been actually taken advantage of. Because like you're saying, you know, the 14 nanometer is
Yeah.
actually not that far behind Intel's 14 nanometer, not that far behind in its tech, as opposed to the 7 nanometer. So if Intel had the capability of using 7 nanometer and applying it with their design, they would actually have far more superior CPUs to AMD. Far more superior.
Let's not forget, Intel is
Yeah.
a powerhouse. They have the expertise. They have everything. They've just been laid back too much. They've just been
Hey Patrick and Azure.
chilling back. Hey, Azure and Patrick. Sorry, I didn't mean that. We kind of bouncing back and forth between Intel here
Yeah.
and AMD. They've managed to do 7. Was Zen 1 7?
No,
Or 14?
I think Zen 1...
Let's
what
have a
was
look.
Zen 1? I don't remember actually.
Was it based
Many
on...
nanometers.
Yeah, how many nanometers? 14
yeah.
FinFET. Okay.
14, okay.
So Zen 2 was 7. So they went from
Yeah.
14 to 7.
Yeah.
And that jump meant that they caught up. Now this is interesting. They caught up to Intel's 14.
Yes.
Which means that 14 and 7, you know, it's not really that much of a difference. Like they're able to still, you know, progress at that. Because Intel's just been going, we've got 14, we can produce a very high quality chip. The chip will survive longer and so on, and you get higher, what's it called? Rates? They, you know,
Frequencies?
no,
or
the
clocks? Or...
Yeah, the clocks, but the amount of stuff you have to throw away.
Oh, right, less like wasted wafers.
Yeah,
or
less
whatever.
wasted
Yeah.
wafers.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the fact that it's 14 means that it's bigger, and you know, you can have more or less depending on the wafer. The wafers are always the same size; they've just been getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
So the fact that they still at 14 were competing with Zen 2, which was at 7, just means that Intel has the expertise to go down to 7 and have performance that could match up 5. So I guess what I'm trying to say is Intel's not dead in the water.
Yeah.
They just failed in the last 5 years. In the last 5 years, they didn't take AMD seriously, and they certainly didn't innovate enough. They actually alienated the gaming and enthusiast community to the point where people are like, I'm willing to drop a little bit of performance in single core gaming and just go with AMD because they're much better to their consumers. They're much better at multi-threaded performance. Like Zen 2, multi-threading has beaten Intel for a long time. Intel was still trying to grab onto the whole single core performance for gamers, but many games don't use single core anymore. That's an old design where when gaming CPUs used to have 1 or 2 cores. one core. So,
Yeah.
or one thread or whatever it might be. Patrick says much better yields. That's the
Yeah,
word
that's right. Yeah,
that's the word I was looking for.
So you're right. Intel's not dead in the water. They just didn't perceive of the jump that AMD would make through the heavy investment in the architecture being 7 nanometers, basically. They invested heavily with a lot of money. So AMD took a huge chance at it. They were like, well, it's either this or nothing. They just went all in, basically.
Yeah.
And so because they were desperate, they were like, look, our stock is worth $2 American. We're down in the drains, basically.
Yeah.
So it's time to actually ramp it up and do something drastic and desperate. Otherwise, we're out of the game completely.
I wouldn't say it was drastic and desperate so much so then it was their only move.
Right, yeah. Their only move. Yeah, that's well said.
You have to, so in a market, like if I'm selling a mobile phone, like let's say in the Android market, companies have to differentiate themselves quite drastically. So you get a lot of skins or, you get a lot of like different features and stuff. You have to differentiate yourself. Same in the CPU market. You have to differentiate yourself on price and, performance, maybe features. Like NVIDIA for now is differentiating themselves by adding these extra things like ray tracing, RTX.
Yeah.
They're differentiating because they know that sometimes you just can't compete on the numbers. You have to add extra things.
And on the numbers side, actually attempting to do 8K with the use of DLSS. So they're like, oh, we're going a step beyond our competitors by doing this, and our upscaling AI is so superior.
G-Sync.
And, the NVIDIA voice. Is it the
RTX voice?
RTX voice, yeah, that's another one. So it's all about the features because it's like, well, power is so close now because, as we can see, RDNA 2 is basically really closing that gap now. So it's like, which one do you buy?
Yeah, and we'll talk about RDNA 2 in a minute because we've got a teaser at the end of the presentation to say. Well, we'll talk about it in a moment. It's pretty exciting, but I think a lot of people were a little bit disappointed. But a lot of the realists
underwhelmed.
Yeah. So we got nanometer. Basically, the numbers don't really matter that much. What I will say though, the way, and I'll just go back to here to sort of demonstrate what they showed in the presentation. So this is something that's quite unique to what they did, and I want to also circle back to Intel being how Intel is anti-consumer. So Zen 1, 2, and 3 are all in the same socket. Motherboards are cheaper for AMD because they require less chips on the board to run the CPU.
Right.
The consumer-friendly part is that they haven't had to redesign a socket for every single generation like Intel does. Every time Intel comes out with a new CPU, it's a bloody new socket. Which means your motherboard, you can't just be like, oh, you know what, I'm just going to swap CPUs. You can't do it. You have to buy a whole new motherboard.
That sucks. I don't like that. Yeah.
So what's the point of having a PC that's custom and every time you want to swap out a CPU, you have to get a whole new motherboard? That's not the spirit of a custom-built PC. You should be able to swap out parts left, right, and center without having to be like, oh, I gotta make sure to match these two out. We've got standard ports like PCI Express, USB, M.2 slots for that reason, that they're standard across the board and manufacturers just use the same interface. But no, Intel's like, no. I'm gonna force our motherboard partners to build a display, put that Ivy bridge, or whatever bloody things they put in there to make sure that it's only that CPU and that. And there is engineering reasons for it, like don't get me wrong, but there was also an effort they could make to not have to do that.
Well, you know what? By doing that, Intel's actually making it better for the partners because everyone's getting a kickback that way to be like, hey, you got any CPUs? We'll make new boards. Everybody wins. We're making money.
Yeah, but the boards are more expensive because the R&D to develop the new board with a new socket type. Remember, Intel boards have the pins on the board. Yeah. So it's not as easy to just drop in a new one. Like it's obviously it's a different style. Like but the way the board partners are pricing their products is to make sure that Intel gets their margin because Intel gets a kickback from they sell the rights to use
the proprietary blueprints
the way they want to do it. So all in all, I think there's a bit of consumer there. So, okay, so you've got Zen 1, 2, and 3. They're all use the same port.
Yeah.
And back to this image here. AMD was able to not only create a new architecture, 7nm plus, but still use the exact same socket. It used the exact same format size, so height, you know, and width and all that. Like it's not like you slot it in, but there's like this massive like mushroom hanging off, you know.
CPU.
Woohoo! They were able to fit it in there at the same TDP. Same TDP.
Oh, is it the same? Is it 105 as well on the?
It's 105.
Okay, that's impressive. I like that. That AMD's going for consistency. They're like, we're just going the same. That's probably why they're rushing. I want to say they're rushing to 5nm because they gotta stay ahead of. Like they've obviously shown to Intel, they're like, oh, we made a jump and now we're ahead of you. But in order to keep this up now, they're gonna have to like really rush and get ahead. Because if Intel jumps to 5 and let's say they have the more superior architecture, they're just going to crush AMD and put them back to where they were.
They can't be complacent. AMD cannot be complacent. Right now, they've won the battle, but not the war. And the war is ongoing, sure, but this is the first battle where they've won and not had any casualties, right? And you know what? They've put the prices up.
Yeah.
Prices are gone, whoop.
Because they can. They're now the bleeding edge of CPU, so they're like, we're the best, we can charge for it.
It's time to make back our margins. And what kept the lights on, and again, we'll circle back to this, is their consoles. That's what keeps the lights on at AMD.
Yes,
now,
absolutely.
Sorry, back to this image. I keep coming back to this.
Yeah.
So the reason this is really exciting, you can see here on the left-hand side, Zen 2 used to have, you've got 8 cores. You've got 4 cores and 4 cores.
Yep.
Each 4 cores has access to the L3 cache of 16 megabytes, and obviously that's separated by the bridge to the other ones. And that actually means that there's a delay between the cores.
Yeah.
There's a latency.
Yeah.
What they've done this time is gone in the same form factor, the same packages I mentioned before. They've managed to have a whole cache and all the cores connected to that single cache. That will reduce the latency, and that is why we get a 19%
IPC gains.
IPC gains. It is just absolutely impressive. Like, this is the biggest jump since 2009.
Is it?
6.
What was that?
It's been 14 years. It's been 14 years since AMD's come out with something better than Intel. I was doing the report.
Report.
This morning, and I remember it was 14 years since AMD has done.
Damn, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's been how many years since they've done a good GPU? Now that's a question.
That's the next step.
Yeah.
I wonder, do you think Lisa Su is gonna be working with Radeon and that team?
What, for like much longer or?
Well, is she gonna be working on the graphics side kind of thing, or?
Yeah, I think she's the everything.
The everything.
I mean, she's the everything of managing the teams.
Right.
So she's probably making high-level decisions that involve large amounts of money and all that kind of stuff. But she has her experts that she gets to jump up on the conference the showcase, which was, what was it, like Mark or something, the guy that jumped on and
Paperworth or something.
Yeah. He was obviously the brains behind that project. Yeah.
So he obviously worked closely with her.
Yeah.
Sam Dawson says, with respect to Intel, the amount of bandwidth into the CPU usually doesn't change much between sockets, with the exception of 2, 3, or 4 channel memory. I suppose, this is in regards to the RAM going in, so you've got dual channel memory, obviously you've got more, and that's why they've had those bridges. Patrick says AMD just consolidated a steady stream of income for 7 years, plus because Intel's launch is delayed till next year, AMD can just price drop by 50 USD to undercut Intel when the time comes. Exactly, absolutely correct. They can do this now, and they should do this. This is the right business move, and they've gained enough popularity with the consumers that won't affect them at all.
Yes, they have gained like really positive respect and mind share, momentum, like it's all working for them. Thing. And then now that they have the next 5 to 7 years as well of, like Patrick said, consistent income flow through the Series S, X, and the PS5 models.
Yeah.
So,
hey Restoration, good to see you, mate. So I suppose overall, we're getting a better CPU. It is actually a huge jump. It's nearly 4 generations of bloody Intel, because Intel's increases were like 5% every year, every generation.
I can't believe that. Like, if 5% is nothing.
No, it's crazy.
And even when I saw the 19%, I was like, oh, like, is that great? Like, is that good? And people were like blown away by it. Because I'm used to seeing GPUs to be like, oh, it's just 20, 30%, and that's like a standard.
Yeah.
So when we have like 40%, I was like, wow.
Yeah. And that's why everybody was so blown away by the 3080, because people were saying, 80% increase in performance?
In some games, okay, but but most games, no, it's 30, 40%. Yeah.
Now, there is a meme that I saw, and that was a hilarious thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if Intel actually did this. I didn't read into it. I was just saying, whatever. But on the presentation with AMD, they showed the gaming benchmarks.
Oh, yeah.
And there was Battlefield 5.
Oh, I laughed at that. It was like -1 or 3%.
3%.
-3%. I was like, wait, hold on. Is that a typo? No.
No.
That's actually, So, obviously...
I respect AMD for putting that in.
Yeah,
At some point you
was
just
like,
be like, nah.
mad respect to be like, look, okay, we suck in this game, but everything else is really good.
Yeah. Well, they've beaten Intel in Counter-Strike. Well, Counter-Strike was Intel's like baby. They were always top in that.
Yeah.
They've beaten them by 20%.
Yeah. I think. What does that say about the CPUs then? It's that they're
not necessary to like high fidelity gaming as much as it depends on the game.
They're so much more complex in relation to all these games that they interlink with, right? Like certain architecture actually benefits certain other developed games projects.
Yeah. It depends on the way the game was developed. Like, take a strategy game for like Skylines, right? City Skylines or SimCity. That's very CPU heavy, and you need a decent CPU to run it at decent frames when you get the city to be built really high. Something like Battlefield 5, like it's all...
How old is that game?
It's not old, like 2-3 years old.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like 2019 or 2018. I'm pretty sure.
That's
pretty recent.
Interesting, right? And this is the latest CPU that's been testing out this game, and it actually runs worse than a CPU that's 2 years old?
Yeah.
Or something like that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 2018. So November. So around the same time. So nearly
2 years ago. Yeah. Wow.
So I guess it's pretty hilarious, to be honest, that was in there. But
the developers had Intel in mind. They were like, we're just gonna make it to benefit your CPU.
If you're a Battlefield 5 player, would that make a difference to you?
Not at all. 3%. That's just...
Hold that thought. Because I'm going to ask you about... There's a lot more stuff we can talk about ZEN, but I want to just jump to RDNA 2, and then we'll talk about consoles.
Okay.
So RDNA 2 showed Battlegrounds 3? No, Borderlands.
Borderlands 3, yeah.
And they showed it at 60 frames, 4K.
Yeah, ultra settings, yeah. It was like 60, 61. I think 61 was the average. Yeah. On that. Yeah.
Patrick says, mad respects to AMD to put the -3%. Like, our CPU is the best at most things, but it's not magic.
It's not magic, yeah.
You know
absolutely.
What? I'm going to say, it looks pretty fucking magic right now on paper. I hope it's true. If at least half of what they say is true, I'm still going to be impressed. I'm really worried because a lot of stuff would look really cherry-picked. And we're going to have to wait for reviews.
Yeah, they're saying, across the board, it's 26%. So in reality, it's probably like 15%. When you introduce more games, I think, into that sample size, it's going to start to drop that performance across the board.
I really want to give AMD the benefit of the doubt. They're in a good position, and that's what they're really hoping for, that everybody's going to be like, okay, I'm sort of trusting you now, let's actually test it. I think a lot of reviewers will go easy on AMD because of that. NVIDIA doesn't have that benefit. As soon as NVIDIA screws up, everybody is just like wolves for blood, sharks for blood in the water sort of thing. Like, you want to hit the big guy, but AMD's not quite there yet,
They're the underdog, so everyone's rooting for them.
Yeah, exactly. So RDNA 2.
RDNA 2. So 61 frames. What's interesting, we don't know what GPU this is. she's like, big Navi, but like, is it the biggest? Is it the best? Or is it like, is it the 6700 or 6800? Or is it 6900? Or is it like, I think they will also have the Lisa Su special edition Navi as well.
Okay. So let's take a step back. If they said to us, so this next thing is running on our entry-level graphics card, and then they show 4K at 60 and it's entry-level, which means it'll be competing with the 3060, 3070, everybody would have lost their shit, like straight away.
Absolutely, yeah, I would have lost it.
But she didn't say that.
Which means it is the best.
It is the best.
GPU.
Or at least it's their flagship. And not the enthusiast grade, yeah.
Right, flagship.
They did an enthusiast grade a couple of years ago. It was terrible. It was the R9 Fury X or something. Or do you remember that? It was like a really small GPU with like a water cooled unit.
Yeah, the separate unit thing that kind of dangles off it. Yeah,
and it was crazy powerful. And they've dabbled in like dual card single slot cards before, and it just didn't work out very well. And that was the R9 Fury X was just a letdown. It was a lot of letdowns. The AMD GPUs have been a letdown for a long time.
Well, they have, yeah. So maybe now's the time. I think, okay. So yes, what we saw the presentation with the GPU at 61 frames of the Borderlands 3, and then instantly after that we had to look at what did the 3080 do. Was able to do, and it was doing like 65 on average, right? Like 65 frames. And then, okay, so now we know they are using the best CPU, or like a really damn good CPU, which is, you know, in that presentation, AMD is. So if you take away that CPU and put in Intel's one that probably the 3080 is using for their example, you're going to get probably 55 frames.
Yeah, so Guru 3D's got 69 for the RTX 3080.
Oh, really? What CPU are they using?
I'll have to go back to the actual...
It'll be like a Zen 2.
It'll be probably graphics card, hardware setup, power consumption. So look, it's like so many pages on these things.
So many pages, this could take a while, but... Okay, so 69 is the average 4K. So we already can see that, wow, the 3080 is going to dominate the RDNA 2
Yeah, and
GPU.
look, Lisa Su's not stupid. She would have shown something that they know that they can do. So it's a Core i9, 9900K.
Oh my god, okay, which is what, like 2 or 3 generations old?
Well, we're only on the 10th generation now, 10? And the 11th generation is the next one coming up.
Oh, okay.
And the 11th gen is also going to be on 14.
So the 990K. So how does the 9900K compare to the Zen 3 then?
We're not quite sure, because I think they were doing 10... So that they compared the 1090K, right?
Yeah.
Where does it say?
What's this?
Doesn't say which one it's against. But it must... I'm pretty sure I saw the... Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw the 1090K. Whoops.
Yeah, I saw that too. I did. I recall seeing that in the presentation.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did it against... Oh, here we go. Yeah, 1090K. So
1090K, yeah.
They did... So 1090K does it in, what, 500 and whatever points? 500 and thingy points.
Yeah. And then
this is not a good comparison. No. There you go. This is the one. So...
Okay.
So 20%, 5%, 6%, minus 3, plus 1. I mean, these aren't huge jumps.
No.
They're not big, but I mean, look at this though. CS:GO 20%.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
And remember that the improvements here are just coming from the fact that you're using a different CPU and not a graphics card.
And I think nobody should even care about CS:GO at all, like the improvements, because we're at like 500 frames for CS:GO. No monitor can run it in the world.
Yeah.
So it's useless.
Yeah,
it's like,
that's exactly right.
But why?
Well, I guess what I would say to this, and this is what really kind of concerned me. Oh, not really concerned me. It was just weird. This is only 1080p performance.
Yeah.
And a graphics card doesn't, like the new generation graphics card don't run well at 1080p anymore. 1080p is dead. It's dead. It's 1440p is literally the new 1080.
Unless you have one of those 360 hertz monitors and you want to make the most out of it, then you're like 1080ping everything.
Yeah, so you're running high frames. But it's just, the GPUs don't get to stretch their legs, and that's a little bit, the performance is terrible. So if we even jump back to this thing here, and I think I was on page 22. So let me go to 22, which was
Borderlands
3. Yep. So they've got a test here at 1080p, and it's 128 frames, and it's 69 at 4K.
Wow, this game is so demanding.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, even on my 1080
Borderlands
Ti,
3.
it runs at like 70 on the 1440p G9 that I have now.
Whoa.
So I'm really keen to try it out at higher frame rates.
Yeah.
But I suppose, look, 4K is really the benchmark, because this is where you can the power consumption goes higher. Everything just starts sort of working. It's sort of the peak performance. Some cars are really efficient at a 90Ks instead of 100, for example, fuel efficiency wise. So this is sort of my thinking behind it. But look, I mean, the jump from 2080 Ti to 3080 Ti is pretty massive.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's about 10%, 15% slower.
I think so, yeah. I think the RDNA 2 top tier is going to be 15% slower than the 3080. But in saying so, now that you're going to have double the RAM and probably $100 cheaper, I think people will flock to that one.
Yeah.
For the next. But then, okay, so the whole conversation about the VRAM fear that it's going to be insufficient in the years to come. We know that for the next 2 years, developers are not going to be creating games that need more than what the majority of the products provide.
That's right, because consoles are the lowest common denominator. We are going to get some great games, don't get me wrong. They're going to be fantastic, because finally, consoles are a PC, like with a custom OS. Like, that's all it is. Like, this generation, that's all it is. Like, it's got an M.2 slot on the Sony for a it's ridiculous. But anyway.
I know, and it's only compatible with certain speeds of the M.2 drives, which are the top tier ones that are just coming out now, for purchase. Yeah.
And that's the other benefit that you get with ZEN 3. ZEN 3 has PCIe 4 support. Well, so does ZEN 2 at the moment anyway.
Yeah.
But now we've got these high-speed PCIe 4 storage, M.2 storage drives that are coming out, and games are going to require high-speed storage. Well, guess what, gamers? You can only get it on AMD platform. So, if you want to play, the big games coming up, that's it. That's your choice. It's actually it didn't matter up until 2 months ago. It didn't matter. PCIe 3 and 4 is doesn't matter. But now there's an actual reason to go with it because of consoles. Consoles have moved the gaming industry forward so much this generation that PCs haven't done that in a long time. I think higher refresh rate monitors did, but PCs haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah. It's interesting, right? Like, what actually inspired these developers to really push themselves and be like, hey, wow, okay, we're gonna make these consoles so much better and so much, we're gonna make them bleeding edge technology and on par with PCs right now, and just make really, really good consoles. Is it we're in a time where we're fairly financially, well off, or do they know the hunger of the gamers, or do they want to keep up with the PC master race? Do they not want to get left behind? Is it because the market is such a safe place for them to be like, we're going to invest so much into this because we know that this can't fail. This just cannot fail.
I actually don't think it's... I guess my thoughts on that is that it's just come to a point where the product, the technology, it moves so quickly and everything's becoming so cheap to manufacture that they can invest in products that are for high-end PCs now and put it into consoles that will hopefully last 5 to 7 years. I think we're just at this, because technology is an exponential curve. Oh yeah, it's always going up and up and up and up, and it's always faster and faster and faster. We're just we're at this weird peak of I recently got an electric skateboard, laws haven't kept up. Everybody's backwards. Electric cars are out. There are self-driving cars. No law. The laws are behind. The country's people's thinking is behind compared to how fast technology is moving forward.
Yeah, you're right. Technology is exceeding our policies.
It's exceeding. When something exceeds your policy, it means your policy is wrong.
Yeah, your policy
Climate
is
change
out of date.
is causing policy to be out of date. It's causing those dinosaurs in government to be out of date. They're investing in fucking gas and coal.
No, don't do that, you idiots.
It's just mind-boggling to think that renewables are cheaper now. Since 2016, 2017, depending on the side of the globe you're on, it's cheaper. It's cheaper to do that.
But mind you, solar power rebates, that's a big thing right now.
Yeah, Australia's not doing fuck all about it.
No, as in like the government will pay you if you want to buy solar panels.
No, they're not.
Yeah, did you not see it?
When?
Like
What,
like
the budget?
recently,
The budget?
Yeah, they'll pay you up to like $4,000 if you want to invest in solar panels as part of a rebate. Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay.
So I know that I was a shock. I was
they
like,
cancelled the 40-cent thing. I used to have, we bought a house that had 40 cents per kilowatt that you'd put back into the grid. And that was only for 10-year period, which is great. Like we had the house in the last 3 years, but it was connected to, only to the premises and only to the solar panels.
The thing, the solar panels.
And so, it was a decent amount. Now it's like 6 cents or something like that. Like something stupid. Like there's no point in trying to use it yourself, but batteries are still expensive. I didn't know there was a rebate.
Yeah, I know. I was actually even called about it too. There was this woman, she was like, I'm not trying to sell you anything, but did you know that the Australian government, blah, 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 and I was like, the hell?
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that. That's pretty cool. But there's no... Okay, so like, what about EVs? Like Western Australia has no EV subsidies. EVs are still classified as luxury vehicles. It's like, what? Sorry, I'm saving the planet. It's luxury? Well, I don't know. It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess we're getting a little bit off topic on
Right.
that.
CPUs, GPUs.
No, let's talk consoles because
consoles.
because we got onto that. We started talking about it. So the PlayStation
Right.
5 and the Xbox is so much more like a PC nowadays.
Absolutely.
Is it this link?
And look, I mean, this current gen was very much like like PCs as well. It was a great decision for Mark Cerny to go to the executives of Sony and be like, "Hey guys, x86 architecture, let's do it. That's the future." Yes, it is.
It's been the future for a long time.
It's been the future for a long time. Xbox has been going down that line as well, so they figure, well, might as well, right?
Yeah.
Compatibility is gonna be better moving forward, and it's just going to be a lot better to align with technology, and using AMD as a source is, a great thing for us.
Yeah.
So yes, now more than ever, these things are so well aligned with the PC master race. And as we saw the Teardown,
Yeah, I've got it up here.
I loved that Teardown. Like,
it's ASMR. I told you.
yeah, so ASMR, but like, it is I feel like the Teardown, and no offense for this man, but like, is either he's a petite-sized man or the console is bloody ginormous.
I think the console is giant.
Yeah, because like you look at it compared, like
Look at
it,
giant. It's his
so
chest.
huge. Like it's just his chest size. The whole.
So it's
whole
like this.
thing.
It must be this. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to show it to the camera. So here's my chest. I'm just getting my chest. I mean, sorry. Obviously,
Yeah.
it must be a little bit smaller.
Yeah, it was it's probably a little bit small.
But okay, let's take his hand. Like, okay, his hand is quite. Like, it's so many hands.
So many hands high.
How do you measure a PlayStation 5? In hands.
Yeah, Japanese hands specifically.
Yeah.
But like, I love the design, man. Look at the huge focus, as you can tell here, was on heat management.
Yeah. Can I just say,
Yeah.
I am so impressed that they've managed to fit the power brick inside.
Yes.
Aren't you just sick and tired of like buying consoles and they're like, it's so small, it's tiny, it's great, it's gonna fit into your TV cabinet.
But
and then there's this huge brick that comes along with it. Like you're like, what?
What is that? Well, I mean, the PS4 Pro doesn't have a brick either.
No,
which is great.
I think I'm really thinking about Xbox.
Oh, you're thinking, yeah. Why does the Xbox have
Well,
power brick?
the Xbox 360 had a massive brick.
Oh god,
It was huge.
That's going back.
And I think the latest Xbox doesn't, and this one doesn't obviously. But I know PlayStation 2 had a massive brick.
Oh, would have, yeah.
And I know this one still, but in a form factor like this to power the amount of stuff that's in there, I'm surprised they fit it in because they're running on RDNA 2 and a Zen 2 CPU.
Zen 2 CPU.
Is it the Plus or just the standard Zen?
I reckon it might be the Plus.
I think it's the Plus,
It's gonna be like a.
I think they manufactured
custom Zen 2.
Yeah, it's custom, but I think they manufactured the wafers for Zen 2 Plus.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, we've just built you heaps. Can we just grab a couple of those? We'll just release them on the side as like an extra. I certainly think that would have happened because it's like a smart thing to do.
The offcuts.
Yeah, Patrick says the Xbox One launch, but yeah, so was the Xbox One real one?
Yeah, disgustingly massive.
Yeah,
nasty.
I want to look this up. Keep going about PlayStation.
Right, so
I'll look this up.
The power supply inside the PS5 is a 350 watt, I believe. Inside it, so
that's impressive.
That is impressive, right? Having a 350 watt power supply, and you got to run the 10 teraflop GPU as well as the 3.5 gigahertz CPU and the 16 gigabytes of RAM that's obviously being shared between both the RAM and the GPU. So previous consoles, current gen consoles, we have 8 gigabytes that's spread between the RAM and the GPU. So
okay,
really,
so is that actually, because we had this conversation the other night on the stream.
Yeah.
I found the picture, by the way. It's giant. It's like
it's chunky.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry. Do you? I'm still not clear. Do they have a separate RAM? Separate memory for RAM.
Yeah.
And then a different speed RAM for.
Okay, let's look at the let's just look at the stats of the PS5 and do like a side-by-side comparison, PS5 specification and like Xbox if you can.
Tech Radar.
Yeah, let's have a look. Give me the specs.
Where's the specs?
Oh, I don't want you ads. What's the spec sheet?
Price, design specs. Okay, cool. Okay, so Zen 2 based CPU, 8 cores, 3.5 gigs. Okay.
Memory interface, 16 gigabyte GDDR6 256-bit at 448 gigabytes, right? So that's the PS5. But the Xbox...
What is it? Is it Xbox X?
Series X, yeah. Oh, it's so confusing, man.
So many people went on Amazon and bought the wrong Xbox thinking that it's the release one.
Maybe that's a clever tactic to be like, hey, our Xbox One sales have skyrocketed.
Yeah, but you know what? It doesn't really matter because with the Game Pass, you just get to play all the games.
Yeah.
Specs. Specification.
Specs.
Just do one versus 5.
Do like a versus spec
Here we
sheet.
go. Tom's guide. Tom's guide
is the best guy.
Tom's guide's got us covered. Here we are.
Here we go.
Okay, so one is called the PlayStation 5.
God damn it, ads.
God damn it. And one is called an Xbox X. Okay, that's pretty difference. They've got less letters.
Okay, we got it. Yeah, this is names are different.
Wait, is it coming out 2 days earlier?
Oh my god. Yes.
I hate
it. Is, yes, 2 days
ads.
Earlier.
Yeah.
So obviously when they found out about this, they needed to come around quite close to it. So just look at that RAM. So they both got 16 gigabyte GDDR6.
Where are we?
But then the speeds. Oh, it doesn't give you speeds on that.
I'm pretty sure it breaks it down. So in PlayStation 5, I'm pretty sure it's 10 and something and 6 and something else.
PlayStation 5 has a steady speed for all of it, which is 448 gigabytes. But the Xbox Series X has a split of 10 gigabyte at this speed and 6 gigabyte at other speed.
Let's find the specs now.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's got a bigger bus too.
Yeah, 10 and 560, 6
so this is the one that's breaking.
So is that because there is an assumption that there will be a maximum usage of 10 gigabytes for VRAM?
Yes, that's my thinking.
Right.
But I think, so the 10 gigabytes is going to be for VRAM. I think the 6 is console memory.
And then maybe the 6...
Or maybe the other way. Actually, the 6 could be the graphics.
Nah, no way. 10 will be the graphics. Dude, I mean, you look at a console, and how many, operating things does it need? Very, very minimal compared to a PC, right? It's most of it is going to be focused on gaming, right? So, the things you have running in the background, the only thing that will be there, it will be updates.
Yeah.
And then when you're out of the game, you're in the home screen, right? You're running the operating system. So, Yeah, so 10 gigabytes will probably be the standard for the usage of it. But even so, they can still steal more if they need it for a game. Like if the game's far more demanding, they'll just steal more of that and use it up for the game. Allocate more.
Yeah, it'll allocate more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably is the 10 gigs must be the graphics card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in reality, probably how much RAM do you think? How much RAM do games use
GPU
nowadays
only
anyway?
uses 10 gigs.
Yeah.
So the 6 is for... Yeah, so RAM-wise, I think Premiere uses a shit ton. But
Does it?
games don't use much RAM. And you can get, you can game with 8 gigs of RAM, 16. Like, you don't need 32 or anything like that. Like, it's unnecessary. But... it's the OS. It's Chrome, it's Windows that really tears it apart.
Yeah.
And then
your
you're right.
antivirus, all of that running in the background.
Yeah.
It's eating your RAM. Yeah.
So this console, the custom OS, is obviously going to manage that RAM much better, and 6 is probably enough.
Yeah.
You know, Apple's been able to have half the RAM of every single Android phone, and it's always running smoother than most Android phones. So it's not about how much RAM you have, and the numbers, the specs don't really matter too much in regards to RAM, but I like this. Did you see that? I was just like, seriously?
I like that. It's so sleek. You can hide your screw away like that.
Yeah,
like,
but did you see he like twists it, and there's a little bit that comes out to fill the hole? Who was like, okay, so we gotta make sure the hole gets filled. Like, that's just so much effort, and then he twists it to hide the hole. Like, what?
I know. I love this, right? And the fact that this comes with every single console. The stand.
Yeah. Do you remember when the stands were sold separately?
For the PS2, yes. Oh god, those were the days.
It's just insane, the accessories that yeah, I mean.
Oh, it's actually, it's starting to get naked now. So, this is what made me interesting, like how easy it was just to pop off the top, like just add a little bit of pressure. And I think it's gonna let us know that you'll be able to buy these in different colors. Perhaps.
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, and they won't have to what they won't have to do is have to sell a different colored one.
See, I think we'll still get limited edition consoles.
Yeah, we will. But they won't have to, like, they could just sell the thing separately.
Yeah, but they'll sell maybe the plates. I mean, they did that for the PS4 though, but the plates weren't very popular.
Well, there was plates for it.
Yeah, for the original PS4, you know how it had like the 4 different kind of parts to it, the original PS4?
Yeah. Okay, so not the small one. Yeah. Oh, this is the M.2.
Oh yeah, the M.2.
All sizes too. Look at that. They've got contingency for all sizes, which is impressive to me. Because if you knew that they were only going to come in this size, then why did you just make one screw?
I know, I like that. I was like, what? That's so cool, man.
Here's the void if removed sticker.
I know.
By the way, that's not legally binding.
Isn't it?
No, it's bullshit.
Oh, fantastic. Because the sticker would have come off on its own.
No, it's just they can't stop you from taking apart your like if you go to like a service person, like they can't deny you warranty. Oh, this is what I was talking about before. So notice here that there's no other screws.
Yeah, there's how many is there?
There's these clips. So I think there's two. One and two.
There's 2 screws and 2 clips.
They're saving on screws, but just having clips. You know, that's pretty cool.
And
I'm surprised it's one fan. It's a beefy fan, but I'm surprised.
That is such a fat fan, eh? 120mm by 40mm, I think.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised it's only one.
Yeah, just a single fan, and the Xbox has a single one as well, doesn't it? Just at the top.
It's a cool design. I mean, I like the fact that it sort of draws it up and pushes it up. I think that's pretty cool.
And this one is like a blow through, like just through the console, out, back, front, like.
Yeah, and that's again, it's a very similar idea of, things are going through.
Yeah. Then there's obviously the design for anti-vibration around the disc, which is really cool as well.
Yeah, I mean, consoles, I think, the console disc thing is probably its greatest strength. And I hope we don't move away too far away from
physical?
That. Yeah, it's one of the things that makes it such a cool device. The fact that you can share games amongst your friends.
Yeah, I
without
like that.
Codes into Steam or codes in, logging into your GOG or EA games and having to like add it in there. It's one of those things that makes it quite unique. As soon as I saw this motherboard, I was so impressed how they managed to fit all that on one wafer.
Oh yeah, see these are the chips, the 8 chips of 2 gigabytes each.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't mean small. I mean, it's all, it's not crowded. It's not all like massively crowded. Yeah.
Which means that is actually a decently sized board, right?
Yeah.
It's not as small as we think it is.
No, it's a large board. It's kind of like building this is like a laptop motherboard, to be honest, let's be real, with a custom thing. But that CPU there, soldered onto the board, I mean, that's a PC. Somebody, and I saw in chat, Patrick said that somebody's gonna, Patrick, yes. I hope people manage to jailbreak the system to be able to run Windows or Linux.
Oh God.
The fact that CPU is x86 64-bit, people are going to be putting Windows on it. They're going to be putting custom OS. This thing is going to get pirated left, right, and center. This is going to be the biggest... Like, I know they've put in a buttload of protections in there.
Yeah.
But that's just part of the fun and the challenge. And I swear somebody's going to make the Xbox X into just a little Windows machine that plays games. And they should. I think Microsoft should do that. Yeah. I think if your kid comes up to you and says, Dad, I need a PC, and then goes, I also want it to play games, and Dad's smart and goes, well, son, it looks like the Xbox Series X, you can just plug in a mouse and a keyboard and it runs Windows, and you can play games on the side, and you can still have an OS that plays games.
Yeah.
Why would anyone buy a PC, and why would anybody buy a PlayStation 5 in regards to that situation? Obviously, the Windows thing will be slower because there's only 6 gigs of RAM, and
See, I think that's going to mess up with the games, isn't it? Because the games are going to struggle to take that memory, and then there's going to be this operating software.
Well, no, because with something like this, you've got the hardware, right? And then the software runs on it. It doesn't matter what the hardware is. If the software's running on it, then the hardware will work. You'll only be able to play Windows games, right? Yeah. You won't be able to load up like Xbox games, but because it's Game Pass, they're all designed on the same system.
Yeah.
It won't be an issue. It won't be high playing at the fidelity that the Xbox can. But it'll probably be like this. You turn it on and there'll be a little menu. Do you want to go to Windows or do you want to go to Xbox? Mind blowing. Like the fact that your kid can just have that on their desk with a little monitor. You don't have to buy them a TV. They can play their Xbox. They can flick through. They can go on on the web and do their homework. So this is a scenario that could even win more sales for Xbox.
Yeah, I think so too. There you have it. The PlayStation 5 is naked.
Yeah. Is it playing? Oh my god, what's going on?
Oh my god, it reset itself.
The Verge, all these websites, they're so crap. Oh, here's a good view.
Oh yes, yeah.
That's a lot of parts.
That is, that's a nice... Look how symmetrical that is. It's so it's good for the soul just looking at that.
Like I said, it's ASMR.
Yeah.
We had another topic.
Yes, there's a blog that came out from PS5 addressing the questions relating to backwards compatibility.
Oh, tell me more.
And they have said that about 99% of the PlayStation 4 titles are actually going to be available on day one to play on the PS5. I know, that's a big shock. That's great. That's positive.
99.
And not only that, 99%. That's cool, right? That's pretty good. They gave out a list of games that are not going to be backwards compatible, and there were only 10 games.
Okay, what are the games? Is it on here?
I think one of them was a random Hitman game. Yes, they have the list on there. Is it that one there? Yeah, additional information. Maybe that's the one there.
Alright, I want to say, this is PlayStation 2, 3, and 4 games, or just 4?
These are just PlayStation 4 games.
Okay.
So, where's the... Oh yeah, if you press that plus, these are the games that will not play on the PS5. Only for the PS4.
DWVR?
No idea what that is. Afro Samurai to Isle of Man. Just
right
deal with it.
Oh my god, I'm not buying a PlayStation 5.
Do you know this game?
TT Isle of Man, right on the edge too. How could you... Sony, how could
outrageous.
you... Outrageous.
Outrageous.
Outrageous. No,
I think the only game out of that I identified was a Hitman game. It's Hitman Go Definitive Edition.
It's a mobile game.
Is it?
It's a mobile. You can buy it. You can use it on your bloody...
And Joe's Diner. God damn it. Joe's Diner's not going to be working.
What is this feedback bullcrap? Look at all the crap that just pops up all the time.
I know. Shorten.
Yeah, the Go Edition is just a platformer on
So
the
all
phone.
the games we don't care about are not going to be backwards compatible.
Joe's Diner?
Yeah.
What?
What is Joe's Diner?
Okay, let's go down the rabbit hole.
Or down the rabbit hole.
So it's,
All right,
it's
it's a
Swan
place-
Valley.
Swan Valley.
PlayStation 4. Let's just go.
Yep. His diner won't be compatible.
Let's just click on something, but I'm gonna mute it because I
Yeah.
don't want to get striked.
Is this like a horror game?
I don't know, but it's a bit dark.
It's really dark.
Oh, it's first person, and it's a diner.
It's really dark.
Yeah,
Well, it's
really
creepy
dark.
as hell.
I'm disappointed, Sony. How could this not be? Look at this.
This is so chunky. So this is not going to be backwards compatible, guys.
Are you guys disappointed as much as we are?
This
Because
is like a horrible
we
game.
need to start a petition for,
Joe's Diner.
to bring Joe's Diner to
To the PS5.
To the PS5. What?
What?
It's so bad.
0, 20, 20.
Joe's Diner could have been a good game. It has a lot of the pieces for a heart-attacking, inducing horror game.
So it is a scary game. Okay.
With its
Wow.
scary setting, mechanics,
It's
that force you to
absolute
make
garbage. You know what? Maybe this was the strategic move to cull the dead weight.
Do you think they just said anything below like 20 on Metacritic? Like, we're just not gonna...
Yeah, everything garbage is just not compatible.
Does Sony curate their games?
No.
Can I just be like, I'm making a PlayStation 5 game,
Yeah.
make it, and just and it's like fucking Pac-Man or something, like, on there, and I sell it?
I think so, a little bit. I think a
Is it
little
like
bit.
the App Store and where they like check every app and...
I think they would,
Yeah.
yeah, because you don't want to make like a game where you know you do something horrific in it, like that's extremely racist or sexist. They're probably not going to allow that.
You know, I feel sorry, like, this person here, Kitty39, so do you reckon
Yeah.
Kitty was 39 years old when she made, or he made the account?
Or born in 1939.
Or born, yeah, that's the other thing you can always say. So Kitty39 says, what can you say about the worst game in history? Oh wait, that was E.T., the one they buried in Mexico in a garbage dump. I bet you should watch the Netflix special on that one. And that is where Joe's Diner should find itself. Like, somebody
Wow.
spent the time
To create this garbage.
to like
game.
make it. Like, let's have a look at credits. Is there anybody? UIG Entertainment. We're just really going
Oh man,
into a
we're
little
going
bit of
sideways here.
It's German.
Oh, is it German?
Ja, ja, sprechen Sie German.
Wow.
Oh, guten Tag. Oh no, these are the guys that made Firefighter Simulator.
Oh, is that any good? Have you played it?
Fuck no, I watched a video about it. It's
Yeah.
the most hilarious thing ever. What's this industry giant?
They make such random games.
No, the Firefighter
Joe's Diner.
Simulator is just insane. I have to show you this.
Okay, let's see it.
So, Firefighter
This must be an awful game.
Simulator.
That's the one, right?
Yeah, this is the one. This is the one.
Firefighter the Simulator. The simulation gameplay preview. Switch, PS4, and PC.
And PC. Look at this.
The menu looks like something from the 90s.
Yeah, this whole game is from the 90s. Oh no, sorry, early 2000s. Let's be clear. It's not that chunky.
Right.
But I just want to forward the... Look at this.
What the hell is going
Can you
on?
drive the car? You can't drive the car.
Okay, so that was a burnt up car that they
Yeah.
were trying to extinguish.
Alright,
or something?
this. I think I'm pretty sure I watched exactly this video because I was curious of what it is.
Wow, this is
Um,
definitely low budget, man.
Yeah, and you know, so do you expect this to be ported onto PlayStation 5?
God, I hope not.
Let's see if he takes it for a bit of a drive where he goes back on. Here we go. Here he's doing some training missions.
Yeah, dude,
I mean, this
game is
if
so
this-
depressing to
you know,
look
this-
at.
If this came out in like 27, because this is 2017.
1927?
No, Kitty, 1939. This is her game.
Right.
No, I mean, if this game came out in like 2007, right?
Yeah, then it'll be okay.
I could sort of say, okay, yeah, they've tried to make it, they've done their best, and hell, it looks, you know.
But it's a game that came out in like 2017
Yeah.
or something.
Let's have a look at Industry Giant 2. Industry Giant 2.
I'm not feeling this developer.
Whoa,
man.
whoa. 9 out of 10.
Oh, whoa!
What?
Okay, hold on.
Okay, I gotta go Metacritic on this one.
Will I be eating my words on this one?
This could be what finances them. This could be their
cash flow game.
Yeah, the cash flow game.
2002?
Wait, it's from 2002? Oh, no, I think that what they have is the remake. I think they've done a remake. So if we go PS4... That's it. This one's 2016, and oh my god,
0.
So Clutterbrain says Industry Giant 2 on PS4 is a broken port of the 2002 PC title that the company never fixed. My first game-breaking bug happened during the tutorial, after which I installed.
Great.
Thanks, Clutterbrain. That's really sad. Like,
this is like a very bad gaming company. They need to stop doing anything.
But
gaming related.
You know, as a job, right?
Yeah.
Don't you want to get some satisfaction of completing something that works and is good? And I don't know. Isn't that one of the things?
Isn't that why you do a job? Yeah.
Well, no. I suppose developers developers are a bit of a funny breed. I think a lot of them either sit there, do their job, and not care. But a lot care. I think a lot care about the final product, and I think
there's a bit of pride that goes into it, right? You're creating a work of art in a way.
Yeah, like if you go and find a new job and you put on your CV that you work on Firefighter Simulator, do you think you're gonna get to work on like Naughty Dog's latest like?
Yeah, you might not get hired.
No, so
just saying.
But you might get to work on Industry Giant 3. Anyway.
So awful, man.
Great review for a sample size of 1.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks, Quang.
Hi, Quang.
Good to see you again, mate. So on that bombshell, I think it's time to end the show.
I think so.
We've talked a lot about Zen.
Oh God.
Final thoughts about RDNA 2, Zen?
About Zen. Look, Zen's gonna be great. Zen 3 is gonna be good. I
bloody hope so.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get it. But I'm probably gonna wait till like Zen 5.
Look, I think the thing with CPUs is that people don't upgrade CPUs very often.
No, because the changes are so incremental.
That's right. But for once, it's not incremental. Like for once, the jump is big, but not for Zen 2. Like for people who have Zen 2, I don't think the jump is big enough. But Zen 1, where potentially the motherboard you have could still fit Zen 3, I think there's some boards that can still fit it. With a BIOS update, and AMD took a bit of flack because they promised it would, then they said it wouldn't, and then they did it, and it does. But for somebody like me, I'm coming from a 7700K Intel platform. Like, I can't just go buy a new Intel CPU to just like drop into it. Like, the motherboard is fantastic. The motherboard has no issues. It's absolutely perfect. I love it. Has all the ports I need. I have to go find another motherboard that matches all that. I also have to change the mounting for the water cooler and all that stuff. But moving from a 7700K, which was the top end Intel that I chose at the time, I waited until that one. It was touted as a really good generation, and I think even now it's still pretty decent.
Yeah, I was using my 6700K before I got the Zen 2.
Yeah.
And it was a good CPU.
Yeah, that's in my little server now. Yeah, it's doing alright. A bit high on the temperatures, but...
Alright, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's alright, right?
So that jump will be big enough. And I edited a bunch of 4K videos that actually, it's slow now. Like, I actually get frustrated with editing. I said earlier on, I've got like 5 videos that I haven't edited that I want to release. But sitting down and editing and the struggle of like it being slow is just pissing me off.
Oh no.
Like the productivity is just not there.
Yeah, no, that sucks. Yeah, I'm gonna wait few years and then I'll get like a proper CPU upgrade.
But you're going 3080.
Yes, 3080 I want.
You're not waiting for RDNA 2.
I don't think so. Like I know 3080 is uneconomical.
Is it though? You can get a 3080 for $1,100.
Well, I was meaning in terms of power consumption. Like it just drains the
Does anybody
electricity.
really care though?
Well, maybe your electric bill might.
Yeah, but it's not. It's in standby or desktop mode. I don't think it's going to drain that much.
Isn't it?
No, I think it's when it ramps up.
Yeah.
Like when the voltages go up.
When you're gaming, it's gonna melt it.
That's when it's going to start melting your wallet.
Yeah.
But
melting your wallet. Yeah.
I don't think until then. Cool. All right.
Cool bananas.
Let's just have a quick look at the comments. Quang says Intel either really slacking off right now or they're cooking their comeback now. Who knows? Some of my friends told me. What I'd like to add about that is that Intel needs a push, a hard kick in the rear. They will come out swinging. When they're up against the ropes, they will come out swinging. And do not be surprised if, not this generation, not the 1100, but the 1200 generation, will actually make people come back to Intel. Not come back in droves, but they're going to be competing. They're gonna put all their effort into 12. Everybody's going to skip 11. Like, that's a fact. I don't even think they're going to manufacture much. One thing that AMD did really well is they developed all their Zen lineups at the same time. So at the same time as they did Zen 1, they were still building Zen 2 and 3. So they were improving, and just sort of releasing it at stages when they think, yep, this is now a good product to release. It is this powerful, but we can keep iterating and upgrading. Intel doesn't necessarily, well, they do that, but they do it in stages where they develop, and then they start on a new one and then develop. Instead of, I think it's linear development versus side-by-side development, or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So Intel, I think, is the next generation after 11 will probably be something that's actually quite good. Nafi says, I would still want to wait for RDNA 2 just to see if NVIDIA drops prices. Unlikely due to the demand.
Yeah. Oh, look, it might not, but if it does, there's a good chance you can just cancel your pre-order and pre-order again. Because you'll still be waiting for your GPU to come in.
Yeah. I don't know if you were here earlier on, but was it Christmas? You might get it before Christmas.
You might get it before Christmas
if you order now. Stock, yeah.
That's a maybe. And that's 8 weeks away. 10 weeks away.
Friends, thank you very much for watching. We'll catch you all in another one. Casper, where can we find you?
You can find me at Game with Casper, guys, doing videos, everything gaming related. This weekend, I plan to release the next State of the Game, talking about everything hot that came out gaming news this week. So yeah. And recently I released a video about all the games releasing in October that you might care about.
So you're doing a bit of a weekly news?
Yeah, like a weekly news, unless there's something hot that jumps out. I try to do a bit of a reaction to something big, like the teardown of the PS5 or the hands-on with the PS5 that I did. Yeah,
awesome.
Just more gaming stuff. Yeah.
And I mean I've been watching it recently with you, and it's nice to have a little bit of a quick video about just the games news, because there's so much going on. Like, there's so many games being released, so many news. Like, it sometimes is a little bit overwhelming. So quick snippets is good. So I'll put that link below. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks, Patrick. Thanks, Mr. Regretti. Kwang, Nathaniel, Jor, Dean, Restoration, Italian Mistos. Okay, Control. Thank you very much for watching.
Yeah. And
we'll
Sam.
catch you all in another one.
Bye.
Bye.